Yo, what's up, bros? We're back with another video. This lighting's kind of terrible, but it's all right. Today, we're going to be going over the optimal human diets. So there's so much controversy around this topic, and I just thought it would be good to talk about the true optimal human diet. So let's get straight into it. High carb. High carb is optimal. I don't like these low carb guys. Primal, whatever, bro. I could debunk the low carb whole thing, the whole carnivore thing. I'll probably do a separate video doing that. But just know that lower carb means lower T3, worse hormones. Carbs are optimal. They're probably the most important macronutrient in terms of just everything. But when you don't have carbs, your performance drops to a low. It drops significantly. So for carbs, we got high energy, lowers cortisol, makes you feel better, increases T3, mTOR, one of the muscle growth pathways, right? The carbs don't bloat you, contrary to popular belief. Your glycogen storage in your face is very low, very insignificant. So carbs do not bloat you, not one bit. And carbs also don't make you fat. They might make your muscles retain a bit more water, but they wouldn't, like, people eating calories, if they're both in a calorie deficit, one is low carb, one is high carb, nothing's going to change except the high carb one is going to hold on to more muscle. And maybe even gain muscle depending on their gym status, because carbs are so big are so important for performance that when you cut carbs, especially in a calorie deficit, you're going to have terrible performance. You should actually be eating more carbs in a calorie deficit, if anything. Right? Carb timing. I don't usually just, snack on carbs throughout the day. It's usually 200 to 300 grams of carbs pre-workout, and then another 100 to 200 after. And it's all going to be quick carbs. I'll talk about carb sources later, I believe. But it's mostly all going to be quick. Just because it's pre-workout and then post-workout. The only carbs that I eat that aren't quick are like potatoes, sourdough bread, stuff like that. I don't even eat sourdough like that, though. All right, next. Moderate to high protein. So obviously very important for muscle protein synthesis, for building muscle. They're satiating, so keep you fuller longer. Obviously for your functions, for hormones, neurotransmitters, immune cells, skin and hair, metabolism, right? Protein plays a big role in those. Not as important as you think. Protein is very heavily overrated, and I think this stems from the bodybuilding sphere of things. But protein is immensely overrated. You do not need as much as people try and emphasize. Carbs are a lot more important, and protein, you'll be good for 1 gram of protein, or 0.6 to 1 gram of protein per pound lean mass, right? You'll be good with that. You don't need to do per 2 grams per body weight, or whatever they want to say nowadays. Right here I put 0.6 to 2 grams times or per pound body weight, depending on your preference, right? Like if you want to and you have the calories to eat 2 grams per body weight, then sure, I guess. You could also switch this to per lean mass, right? Just depending on all your calories and your goals, this will differ. But then we got 70 to 90 plus grams of fat. So fat is crucial for hormones. I'm not neglecting this. But as far as macronutrients, they're probably the least important macronutrient. Or they are the least important macronutrient. I wouldn't go under 70 grams. That's why for this, it's not like low to moderate or whatever. It's just I wouldn't go below 70. So that's why I put 70 90 plus. 70 90 is a great range. If you want to have more and your macros allow it, then sure, have more. If you think it's going to help with your testosterone, that much more. it is true that fats help with your testosterone, right? Eating fatty meats, butter, stuff like that. But to the degree that it will help is overstated from a lot of those primal bros, right? It won't really help as much as they like to say it will help. I'm not neglecting that it will. It will probably just raise it, like, the more fat you eat, it'll probably raise it 1 to 200 nanograms per deciliter, which is realistically nothing. So fat helps nutrient absorption, so obviously you need it. And it would just help function overall and cognition, everything. I start my meal out with, I think breakfast is the most fatty meal for me. And lunch, I like to keep it light because that's around the time I work out. But yeah, breakfast is going to be a fatty meal, like some eggs. And then dinner will be another fatty meal. I'll add a fat to that as well. Lunch, I keep it light because that's when I work out. So my whole meal could be a little bit of protein and a bunch of fast carbs. All right, so micronutrients. Micronutrients are important for functioning and how you feel, right? I put that here. But the importance of micronutrients decreases the farther you get out of development. Not saying that they're not important out of development. They are still crucial for multiple things and just how you feel daily. And obviously, like skin health, hair health, stuff like that. But they're essential in development. I would not say they're essential to hit all of your micronutrients outside of development. I'm saying essential. I'm not saying optimal. Optimal, yes, you would hit all of your micronutrients, right? But yeah, so while you're in development, hit them. Foods to eat. Obviously, this isn't all the foods to eat. These are just good foods that you can eat, right? You can eat more. I'll get into that later and what I eat, but this is just like stuff you should have almost every day. We have meat, except pork. Pork is just fatty. They're kind of nasty. Even if you get them from a farm, they're still, eating whatever. It's just, I don't like pork at all. And I think the Muslims were onto something when they banned it or whatever they did. Okay, so then we got fruit. So the thing about fruit is you want to go by the EWG clean foods list and figure out which fruits you can eat unorganically and which ones you can eat organically, because some fruits, even organic or unorganic, they aren't either heavily sprayed or they have a tough layer of skin protecting them, so they're clean, right? And then some are not, or the opposite. This is like berries and apples, right? They're heavily sprayed with pesticides and nothing protects them. So eat organic for the dirty ones and eat clean and eat unorganic, organic, whatever you want for the other ones. Potatoes, preferably organic, like this is just what we were just talking about. But potatoes are great, sweet potatoes, golden potatoes, whatever. I like potatoes. They're packed with micronutrients. They're not calorically dense. So yeah, some fermented vegetables. I put some. They're good for your gut. I don't eat vegetables, and I'll get into that later. But some, like I'll do fermented cabbage, fermented carrots, fermented onions, stuff like that I'll do. So, yep. And then we got, fermented cucumber. Well, cucumbers are fruit. My bad. So, we got eggs. Obviously, this is just an obvious one everybody knows. And then we got sourdough bread. If you're going to have bread, I threw it on here. Sourdough will be the best option for you as far as bread. You could also go Ezekiel, but I prefer sourdough. Ezekiel bread is... You could also just go regular white bread. I mean, I'll get into that later. But, etc., right? You should know what's good, what's bad. And I'm going to have a food list to avoid, so you can kind of just fill in the blanks. All right, foods to avoid. Grains, seeds, nuts, soy, gluten, beans, veggies or leafy greens, and fake products. And what I mean by fake products is like those fake meat stuff, like stuff trying to imitate natural foods, the fake ones. Yeah, I don't ever go for that. It's like, if you did, that's just like crazy. Grains, the best grain is probably white rice, and I eat white rice from time to time. Really, this isn't like, grains aren't the biggest problem here. They're just preferably not to be in your diet. So yeah, we got that. Seeds and nuts, there's just no reason. Why do I want to eat nuts with phytoestrogens and they taste kind of terrible? I just don't get the whole reason to even eat them. But yeah, phytoestrogens. I forgot to mention, grains are usually heavily sprayed. Depending which one we're talking about, heavy in phytic acid, arsenic, heavily sprayed with glyphosate. Soy, I mean, this is an obvious one. You shouldn't really be eating soy at all. Yeah. Gluten, so this is kind of more nuanced than you may think. Gluten is not the best for your gut, and your gut is and proper gut health will show in your looks. So if you're trying to maximize your gut microbiome, I wouldn't digest gluten. But a lot of people are going to be fine with gluten and will be able to tolerate it to a certain amount. So this just goes person to person. But a general rule of thumb would be not to have too much gluten in your diet. Beans, or legumes or whatever, bro. So these contain lectins, which aren't good for your gut at all. Contain a bunch of fiber, which is undigestible. I could go do the whole Face IQ fiber thing. I don't think we should be actively avoiding fiber. I just do not think that it's needed or required to any certain amount. Like, I don't think you have to worry about getting your fiber in. You know what I mean? Fiber found in the foods you eat, like fruits and certain things, should be enough for you. And veggies and leafy greens, I mean, high in phytic acid, oxalates, they tend to be sprayed with a bunch of chemicals, the plant defense chemicals. There's just no reason to be eating a bunch of vegetables and leafy greens, especially leafy greens. I can't do kale. They taste terrible too. I don't want to eat that, bro. I'm sorry. We already went over fake products. Seed oils. So I put this on here because this is a big controversy. Everybody's like, no, seed oils, whatever. Well, it won't make a big difference, bro. If you're eating a good macro meals cooked in coconut oil versus sunflower seed oil, it won't make the biggest difference. Yes, animal fats and coconut oil are healthier, 100%. But it will not be the biggest difference in the world. It really doesn't matter too much. I will say there are certain interesting things when we see seed oils versus like animal fats. There is evidence to support eating a seed oil free diet is better for sun protection. Overall, I think a general rule of thumb is just not to cook with them or eat them. But if they're in a good meal, if you're out, you got to do with what you got to do, right? Sugar. So sugar is sugar, bro. I don't know where this notion that if we get it from a different source, it's any different. Like honey, bro. Honey is just fructose. Like, why? It's just sugar. I don't get the praise for it just because it's non-added. And I don't think sugar's bad. I eat tons of sugar in my day, usually before workouts and after workouts. But sugar is sugar. It's all digested the same. And some may come across, right? So some sugars may be different because with what you're consuming carries fiber with it, which slows the digestion down a little bit, Like, it might be different with what you're eating it with or if it's in a fruit, and the micronutrients within the fruit, it makes the benefit higher, even though it has some sugar in it. But sugar is just sugar, bro. Sugar bloat is highly overstated, in my opinion. It's really not the biggest thing. It will bloat you not through carbs, not because it's a carb, it's a different mechanism. Carbs don't bloat you. We already went over that. but sugar will bloat you to a degree, but it's really not even comparable or comparable to the bloat that you'll get from sodium. So I forgot to add that on here, but while I'm in this little tangent, or while I'm on this bloat tangent, let me go into sodium. So you shouldn't really be having a high sodium diet if you don't want facial bloating or to hold on to excess water, right? Sodium's really the evil for that. I'm not saying you shouldn't have sodium in your diet. In my deep bloat protocol, I actually recommend getting a high quality mineral sea salt and throwing it in there for just some natural electrolytes. I feel like everything in it nowadays has enough salt to just kind of carry you over. I don't think you need to worry about it unless you're having intense exercise sessions, where then maybe you'll need to throw some mineral sea salt into your water. But other than that, I don't think you should be just throwing salt on everything or eating it a ton. It's pretty easy to manage thing. I don't even season my food for it, or I'm lying, bro. I season my food, but I don't even use salt for real. Like I stated here, pre and pre-workout. Okay, so the whole IGF-1 thing, IGF-1 signaling, whatever. Is it true that digesting sugar or spiking your insulin will result in an IGF-1 spike? Yes, this is true. How much and will it even matter is definitely overrated, right? It's not really going to matter to a high degree. If you want to be in a state where your IGF-1 levels are elevated, bro, pin HGH along with IGF-1 LR3 or something like that. I mean, maybe it would help a bit if you were on HGH and you fasted for a day, then you did sprints, and then you ate a bunch of carbs to spike your insulin. Now that's really now that's IGF-1 maxing, right? But just eating a bunch of sugar really isn't going to do that much for you. I guess eating a bunch of sugar pre-workout and then working out and then downing some more after, which is essentially somewhat what I do for muscle, is fine and will raise your IGF-1 levels enough. But I just don't think you should be sitting here mixing the raw milk with the honey and the sugar packets, you know? So acne, yep. So sugar can cause acne breakouts, yes. It's not the biggest thing as far as acne, but it can. Okay, so raw, bro. There's so much hype around this raw diet, and so many people thinking it's better because when you cook it, there's carcinogens and you lose micronutrients, whatever. Dude, the difference between raw and cooked foods is very insignificant as far as nutrient density. I'm not saying there isn't a difference. I'm saying the ROI, really, is it worth it? I mean, some people it is, some people it isn't. Do I eat raw? Sometimes. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't eat raw, or I eat 100% raw, or I only eat cooked. I mix it up. I don't think it matters to a significant degree. If I want to eat something raw, I will, and if I don't, I don't. I mean, really, you guys are spiking your cortisol over this, having debates over it. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's great. Just do what you want. If you want to eat it raw, eat it raw. If you want to eat it cooked, eat it cooked. You're not going to get cancer just from cooking your food. Artificial sweeteners, not bad. Like I said here, I love Ghost. It has friggin' sucralose or acetylene potassium in it. There's studies talking about how it alters the gut microbiome, how it changes it. Bro, anything artificial is going to alter your gut microbiome. Anything you eat alters it to a slight degree. So that study really just... The studies that people like to pull up are really just not good. And there's also evidence against stevia, which is a natural sweetener. So as far as artificial sweeteners go, I don't really care. I'll drink them as long as there's zero sugar, you know what I'm saying? Diet Coke, Molluks. I eat junk, right? So this is going to confuse a lot of you guys on here. I just want to be 100% transparent with what I do on this channel. I'm not going to front, and I'm not going to tell you guys to do something that I don't do, right? I eat junk. I eat bro, I'm not going to lie. Like, Now, this is where I'll get into it. So, processed foods versus whole foods. There is no difference. Whole foods are good because they're naturally occurring, but processed, it doesn't inherently mean bad, right? Your ground beef is processed to get it grounded, right? So processed doesn't always mean bad. Ultra processed is a slightly different thing, and I still think whole foods are better, but just remember this, processed doesn't mean bad. Now, like I said before, micronutrients taper down the importance, their importance. Their importance tapers down outside of development, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm still in development, but it's so slight that I will still eat processed foods and junk foods and some foods that I said to avoid on here for my macros before my workout, because I think that hitting your carbs and your not even your protein, just hitting your carbs really is my biggest thing before a workout and after a workout. I think that's more important for me right now as someone who's just at the end of their development than necessarily getting all of my micronutrients in. And I still get my micronutrients in. It's just I want to hit my macros, and right now what's available to me is a bunch of slop, and I don't mind eating slop because it tastes good. I'm not going to sit here and lie, right? Don't take what I say as law and use it, right? Don't take what I say and use it as law. This is another concept that I want to talk about, right? So how I eat, what I say is good. Like I just said, I follow this diet the best I can. Sometimes I eat junk, like I stated here. Don't take it as law, right? I used to be a Santa Cruz glizzy gobbler. I used to glaze him, and I used to take what he said as law. And you guys are gonna be like, new gen, whatever, blah 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 blah. No. I was on Santa Cruz a while back, and I just thought the whole no seed oil thing. I was on that diet for a long time. I thought it was beneficial. I thought it was gonna change the world, whatever. But then I did my own research and I figured out what worked for me. That's why I said, take these principles and apply them to your diet. Take these principles I said, avoid this because of this. Take them and apply them to you, how it fits for you, right? Not every one person is the same. If something's working for you, I wouldn't see a reason to change it unless there was something out there that's better. So I'm just showing you guys, or hopefully showing you guys a better diet, or like a diet template that you can take and you can apply to your life. And that was the end of today's video. If you have any questions, leave them down below and let me know what you think. If you have any questions about my diet, about the things that you're seeing here, if you want me to go more in depth about something, I 100% will. Just let me know. If you guys have any video ideas for me, just let me know. I'm going to get off of this and out the house soon and make some videos where I'm going out. I'm going to do some streams soon. So